What it do? Episode 104 of the Startup Dropout Podcast, where I share with you my lessons learned in going through an acquisition in college, dropping out of school, building a business to 7 figures in ARR, and working with some of the biggest brands in the world, and learning so much along the way. And I want to share my lessons learned with you, and I want to learn from you as well. And hell, maybe we'll work together sometime in the future. On today's episode 104, you cannot declare a major as a freshman. So, guess what my major was at Florida State? It was exercise science. You want to guess why? And no, it's not because I wanted to be some track athlete's bitch, bringing them towels and stretching them as their, quote, athletic trainer, aka the towel boy, but because you heard in the intro, I thought I wanted to be an orthodontist. And if you haven't heard in the intro, go to episode 1, short little 5 or 6 minutes about me, and I'll have a lot more of that to come. But there are only 2 episodes to pick from to be an orthodontist or pre-med. It was either biology or exercise science. So I went with exercise science. So, okay, last time I'll be annoying and say, guess what? But what do you think the major, I think I should change the major of exercise science to? What should it be called? Well, if you ask me, it should be called Who Can Memorize the Best? Now, if you're listening to this and you're in any type of science major, you're probably nodding your head right now. Matter of fact, if you're in any major, you're probably nodding your head right now. While I understand the rationale of the first couple years of class were to weed people out, what happens is you throw a bunch of shit at students to get rid of them and 30% drop each semester, then what happens is they start to drop like flies. And I don't blame them. You don't want to be dealing with this stuff that you feel so discouraged at your first class in your major and you shit the bed. But what happens is you have dickhead professors, tenured professors especially, that get joy on seeing people fail. I remember one that would brag to other teachers about how 30% of his students wouldn't pass. Well, I ended up doing some research for a professor that worked alongside that guy, and he would brag about that. It's crazy. This dickhead caught anatomy and physiology 1, and seriously, half the class failed. Imagine how many potential doctors, scientists, and God knows what he discouraged and sent into the abyss of the English or business or psychology major. No offense. So you're probably thinking, all right, enough with the rant. What's your fucking point? Well, my point is, don't fall in with the crowd and just declare a major. Now, a lot of you listening to this, if you're like me, you probably have some pressures that are outside of internal pressures, i.e. your family, right? Your parents. You might have successful parents that are pushing you to become a doctor, to become a lawyer, to get on that train that they're riding or they're used to riding and not get off, right? But the problem is that's not how it works in 2019, right? There is no train. The train is all over the place. Shit is all over the place, right? So what you need to do is you need to not follow the crowd and you need to not declare a major. You need to take a spectrum of classes in your first year and see what resonates with you. Now, I'm going to make a whole episode where I bring this up again, but I want to make this clear to you. Saying no is more important than saying yes. What do I mean by that? You've probably gotten asked, if you're like me, 100,000 times, what are you going to do when you graduate? What major are you? What are you going to do with that major? Why don't you ask that person, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Mr. I have it all figured out. I hate when people ask that. Well, what are you going to do when you graduate? I don't fucking know. I'm 17, 18 years old. I'm figuring it out, dickwad. What do you have figured out, Mr. 50-year-old? Nothing. So what you need to do is you need to try a bunch of shit. I've had to lay a whole pallet of sod down. Guess what? It sucked ass, and I never want to do it again. Right? I've had to shuck oysters and wait on tables, and it sucked, and I never want to do it again. But I've also done things that I've loved, like selling to people and helping build businesses, which helped me figure out what I love. But I had to say no to a shitload before I said yes. So when you declare that major, you're making a mistake because you're saying yes before you've had the chance to say no. So you need to take a variety of classes to say no. Now, some of my favorite classes that I took were outside of my major. For example, I took a history of the Holocaust class. That was a graduate level class, even though my major was exercise science. I took entrepreneurship classes. I took business classes. I took all kinds of stuff. Now, most of the time, after the first week of class, they would kick me out because it was for, quote, majors only. Well, fuck them. I'll still sit in on the class and learn without even having to take the test, which is pretty sweet. So when you do pick your major after you figured out what's resonated with you, you actually want to learn the shit, not just because you're going through the motions. I'll give you an example. I told you that I was an exercise science major. I told you in my first episode that I got my first D's in organic chemistry. Biochemistry and metabolism 2. I got a B in organic chemistry. Thank you very much. And I thought, no big deal, but I had to come back and take them. Well, what happens is, if you don't learn the fundamentals, for example, chemistry 1 and chemistry 2, when you get to organic chemistry, you're going to shit your pants and you're going to fail. So make sure that you learn the foundation of stuff and you don't just memorize. Because when you memorize, you're doing it just to get through. You're not getting it to actually learn and get better. Now, if you've picked a major you enjoy, this is all going to happen naturally. But don't forget, try a bunch of shit. Say no a lot. I don't want to do that. So the next time somebody asks you, what are you going to do when you graduate? You got a couple choices. I don't know, turn it on them. What the fuck are you doing, Mr. I got it figured out? Probably not the best recommendation, but hey, give it a shot. Or turn it around and say, well, I'm not going to do A or B because you've already tried it. So don't follow your friends. Don't listen to those stupid fucking advisors who are full of shit that are trying to push you through their system as quickly as possible. Fuck that. Find what you like and what you want to learn. Also, wait for episode 106, but talk to your professors about the real-world applications of the major they are in and that allow you to focus on your interests. My favorite professors are not the ones that have been in academia their whole career. Fuck them most of the time. But those that have actually done the real-world shit, that's how you learn. So, in a shorter episode, you let me know whether you like it or not, but how would you apply this? The next semester, take some classes you never thought about. Plus, fuck it, pull a Steve Jobs and sit on some classes without even registering. Did you know that he would sit on calligraphy classes at the community college he first went to? Also, think long term. If you are enjoying learning what you are being taught, if not, change it. It's never too late, but sooner the better. So tell that advisor to kick rocks. You're going to try a bunch of shit to start. You're going to say no, and then you're going to learn what you truly enjoy. Hope you found this episode valuable. Let me know, as always, how I can improve, and have a kick-ass day. Let's get it.